Hey guys, Mike from CCTV Camera Pros here. Some of our Viewtron security camera DVRs and IP camera NVRs have two HDMI monitor outputs. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can configure the secondary HDMI output to be a CCTV spot monitor or a spot monitor for IP cameras, depending on which type of cameras you're using. In addition, the spot monitor output, when you can configure it, that can be a stationary display of multiple cameras on the screen. You can also configure multiple screens with what's called a dwell time, which is basically when one of the camera views is displayed for a certain number of seconds. That's the dwell time. And then it switches to the second view, the third view, the fourth view, and so forth, and then rotates back to the first one. And you can configure each of those views to be a single camera or a multi-camera layout. Watch this video. I'm going to show you how I configured the secondary HDMI output on my 16-channel Viewtron NVR to be a spot monitor display that I display on the TV in my living room.
Here's the primary HDMI output from my DVR. I'm going to click on the settings menu in the lower left and then click on System. On the system settings screen, you can see here that you can set up different resolutions for the main and secondary HDMI outputs. To configure that secondary output, I'm going to go into Output Settings and then select that Secondary Output tab. To add the display grid, I'm going to click on that plus button, and then you could choose which layout you want. I'm going to choose the 6-camera view. And then I simply drag the different security cameras that are connected to my NVR over onto this grid, depending on where I want each one displayed. And then when I'm done, I click on this Apply button. Now I'll switch to that secondary output. You could see the 6-camera live view here from that secondary HDMI output that's now acting as a CCTV spot monitor or a spot monitor for my IP cameras. In this case, I'm using IP cameras. So next, I'm going to go back into the main output of the NVR and select Settings again. And then I'll go back into System and then Output Settings. Now I'm going to set up a dwell time, which means that it'll be multiple displays and it'll rotate from one to the next. So I'm going to leave that first one as a grid, and then I'm going to add 3 single camera views. So as I'm adding them, I'm also selecting which security camera to display in each of those views. And then actually, I think I'm going to change the primary view from that 6-camera grid to a 4-camera grid. And if I wanted to change any of the cameras, I could just drag those over to the 4-camera grid view to modify that. And then I'm going to leave it set to a 5-second dwell time. And then I'm going to click Apply. Now let's go back to the spot monitor output, and you could see the 4-camera grid view is displayed for 5 seconds. And then it'll rotate to each of the single camera views with a 5-second dwell time or pause time in between it. And note that it doesn't affect that primary output. I could be playing back video or doing other operations from the main video output while this is playing.
Guys, I hope this video has been helpful. As you can see, the secondary HDMI output on some of our Viewtron DVRs and NVRs can be used as a spot monitor output that just always displays a live security camera view, regardless of the primary monitor's use for navigating the menu system on your DVR or NVR. I want to mention a couple things. Not all of our Viewtron DVRs and NVRs have 2 HDMI outputs. The 16-channel IP camera NVR does, the 32-channel NVR does, the 4K 32-channel hybrid DVR does, and actually our 16-channel NVR has 4 HDMI outputs. Also, on that secondary HDMI output, you are limited to 1080p resolution and displaying 9 cameras live, except on the 64-channel DVR, the 64 channel NVR, which can display at full 4K resolution and display up to 36 cameras on the secondary HDMI spot monitor output and 16 cameras at 1080p resolution on HDMI monitor 3 and 4. Guys, if you have any questions about setting up the CCTV spot monitor output on these Viewtron DVRs and NVRs, you can email me directly at mike@cctvcamerapros.net. If you want to learn more about our Viewtron BNC DVRs and NVRs, please visit www.viewtron.com/DVR. Thank you for watching.